Hello students. So let us start with the basic understanding of latches, and later we'll discuss about the flip-flops in this module number 4. So in this module we are going to discuss about the set reset latch, the gated latches, and later we are going to discuss about the edge triggered D flip-flop, the SR flip-flop, the JK flip-flop, T flip-flop, and the asynchronous sequential circuits. So in my previous class, we have discussed about the basic understanding of your combinational circuit and sequential circuit. We also have seen the difference between a combinational circuit and sequential circuit. So basically, sequential switching circuits have the property that the output depends not only on the present input but also on the past sequence of inputs. In effect, these circuits must be able to remember something about the past history of the input in order to produce the present output. So for that, we have the memory element present in the sequential circuit, which is able to remember the past history of the input in order to produce the present output. The latches and flip-flops are commonly used memory devices in your sequential circuit. So basically, latches and flip-flops are memory devices which can assume one of the two stable output states and which have one or more inputs that can cause the output state to change. So the basic storage element is called as a latch, and as the name suggests, it latches either 0 or 1. So now let us understand about latches by using a simple example using the set reset latch, or we also called as the SR latch. So in the figure shown, you can see that we have constructed the latches using the NOR gate. So we have two NOR gates connected, okay, and to the second NOR gate you can see there is a feedback path that is coming out from the output of the second NOR gate as an input to the first NOR gate. Apart from that, we have two inputs coming to the two NOR gates. That is, for the first NOR gate we have the input S, and for the second NOR gate we have the input R as shown in the figure. In the first condition, we can see that with the two inputs S and R, where S stands for set and R stands for reset, let us condition where S and R are the two inputs, where S stands for set and R stands for reset. Let us assign S equal to 0 and R equal to 0, and Q is also equal to 0. So the output of the NOR gate labeled as Q is fed back as an input to the first NOR gate. So this forces the output of the first OR gate to be high, and this high output is fed as an input to the second NOR gate, keeping the value of Q as 0. So a stable condition of the circuit is achieved because P is equal to 1, which is fed as an input to the second gate, which will force the output to be of the Q to be 0, and the Q is fed back again as an input to the first gate, allowing its output to be 1, and this continues. In the second instance, you can see that when I make S equal to 1 and R equal to 0, at that time the first NOR gate will produce a low output which is fed back as an input to the second NOR gate, making the value of Q change from 0 to 1. And this value 1 is again fed back as an input to the first NOR gate. Okay, and this value will remain unless and until I change the value of s from 1 to 0. So the data that is latched until now is 1. So in the third instance, when I make s equal to 0 and r equal to 0, the circuit will not change its state and the value that is stored in Q will be 1 and is fed back into the first gate, that is the NOR gate, causing P to remain 0 only. And later when I change the value of R to 1, Q will become 0 and P will then change back to 1. An input S equal to 1 sets the output to Q equal to 1 and an input R equal to 1 resets the output to Q equal to 0. The circuit commonly referred to as the set reset latch. So if you look into the truth table where we have the two inputs S and R and the output Q, for the two values where S equal to 0 and R equal to 0, I don't know what is the state of the output Q. It may be either 0 or it may be either 1. So I write the output of Q as the previous state. So I don't know what exactly the previous state of the Q is. It may be either 0 or 1. So for the given input for S equal to 0 and R equal to 0, I write for the output of Q as previous state. When S equal to 1 and R equal to 0, okay, I write it as 1 and it is called as a set state. Later, when I change the value of S equal to 0 and R equal to 1, I call the output state as a reset state. When I make both S and R equal to 1, 1, you can see that P and Q will be both complementing each other. Okay, and this state is completely undefined. So I write an undefined state at the output column when the input S equal to 1 and R equal to 1. So here you can see an improvised circuit of a SR latch flip-flop. So here the circuit is same as the previous one that we have discussed. So the input that is having S is the first NOR gate and the input that is having R has the second NOR gate. Okay, so you can see here the output of the first NOR gate is fed back as an input to the second NOR gate and the output of the second NOR gate is fed back as an input to the first NOR gate. The next figure labeled as B shows the schematic representation of the SR latch flip-flop. So if I rotate the figure A, I can get the exact representation of this SR flip-flop as shown in figure C. So based on the input given to S and R, the output P and Q are going to change accordingly. So here is the timing diagram for the set reset flip-flop, which will show how the output values changes. When S equal to 0 and R equal to 0, the output Q is not going to change. So basically the output will be in your previous state. It can be either 0 or 1. Now next, when S is equal to 1 and R equal to 0, exactly what we are doing here is we are going to set the flip-flop. Next, when S is equal to 1 and R equal to 0, we are trying to set the latch. In this, you can see that S is changing at a particular time interval T1, whereas the output Q is changing after certain delay. We represented the delay as epsilon or sigma. So this delay may be because of the gate that we have used. So after time t2, when we are setting S equal to 0 and R equal to 0, you can see that the output value Q still remains 1. That is, q is still holding a value 1. After a certain time, when we make the value of r as 1, you can see at time t3 the value of r has changed from 0 to 1, but because of the gate delay the value of q is still holding 1, and it will change after a certain amount of time delay, and we label that time delay as t3 plus epsilon. Later, the value of q changes to 0. So this is how the explanation of the timing diagram for a SR latch flip-flop, which tells about the clear explanation about how the SR latch works. Now moving next, you can see here this is the state table which represent the various states of the latches. So in the present state of q, you can see, let us take a value as q value as 0. At that time, in the next state, when s and r are both 0 0, it is the previous state that will be represented on the output line. So we represent it as 0 only. In the next state, when s equal to 0 and r is equal to 1, as r is equal to 1, we reset it, and as we are resetting it, so it will be 0 only. Okay. In the third state, where s and r equal to 1 1, exactly we cannot represent this state because this state is an undefined state, and we will represent this state as x, okay, which is a undefined state. In the fourth state, where s is equal to 1 and r equal to 0, where s is equal to 1 means we are going to set the latch. So the setting of latch will change the output of q to 1. So in the next state, where we change the q value to 1, you can see the SR, when it is 0 0, it will take the previous state only. Now what is the previous state? In previous state we have stored the q value as 1, so it will remain in the same state. But when s is equal to 0 and r is equal to 1, we are resetting the state, and it will change from 1 to 0 because here r is equal to 1. Okay, and we know that when s and r equal to 1 1, it is an undefined state. So we'll neglect this state, and we move on. When s is equal to 1 and r equal to 0, we are setting up the state, and now the value of the 0 will change to 1 as shown in the table. If you look into the truth table, where q represents the present state and q plus represents the next state. So when s is equal to 0 and r equal to 0, q is 0, so we retain the previous state, and the next state is also represented as 0. Similarly, when s equal to 0 and r equal to 0, and if q is holding the value 1, then same way we represent the previous state, and whatever the previous state q is holding, the same state is going to be there for the next state. Okay, when we move on to the next state, where s and r are 0 and 1 and q is equal to 0, is also equal to 0, so the next state is going to be 0. So even we have s equal to 0, r equal to 1 and q equal to 1, as we have set it, so it will be remain 0 only. So when I change the output input to s is equal to 1 and r equal to 0, so the present state is 0. As I am setting the latch, so the next state will be 1. So it remains same for the next input. When s is equal to 1, r equal to 0, and the present state is in the 1, and the next state also will be 1. So when s equal to 1 and r equal to 1, when s is equal to 1, r equal to 1, these inputs are not allowed, and we take it as a undefined state. Let us plot the key map for the next state, that is the q plus state, and after plotting the values of q plus in the K map for the S, R, and Q values, you get the equation for a set reset flip flop, that is Q plus is equal to S plus R bar Q. So an equation that expresses the next state of a latch in terms of its present state and input will be referred as a next state equation or a characteristic equation. So this is all about your set reset latch flip flop. Thank you.